Karishma, can you hear me? I can see you,
Hello.
but yes, I can hear you. But I think there is a lag in your connection because your voice and your video was distorting at the moment. But right now, I think it's fine.
I can think in some time because I'm using mobile data here. So I stay in a
Okay,
rural area. So I
okay,
don't
okay,
have
okay,
broadband connection over here. So there
okay, okay,
might be a
okay,
little. I have practice actually. In some time, no, it gets synced.
okay. Lovely.
So
So, which place are you connecting from?
yeah, I'm from Bangalore. This place is a village near to Bangalore only. It's in the outskirts of Bangalore. So we are near
Okay.
to the city.
Okay, lovely. So,
Yeah.
I officially invite you to be a part of the 10th session under the Sunday Learning Circle. And, it's an attempt to bring together all the experts, facilitators on a common platform. And every Sunday, we have been holding, sessions and workshops on themes of common interest so that we get to learn from the expertise of one another. And it's lovely to have you in the 10th session of the Sunday Learning Circle and to also get to know more about your journey and the important theme, coding, which is very relevant at the moment and for which we have been receiving a lot of requests. Due to pandemic, everything has gone online and we are seeing a lot of demand for imbibing digital skills within professionals. It could be students, it could be anybody. So I'm really interested in knowing more about journey, things about coding, and also starting from the basics to all the jargons, all the topics that you would like to cover as a part of the 10th session. So lovely having you over here, and we'll officially start with the session now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be part of this and thank you for the opportunity. So let me start. I studied from NIT Surathkal. I completed my computer engineering in 2005, and then I got placed into Samsung. No, I was into DVD recorders. I was working on that, and for 3 years, I have worked as a software engineer. I have worked in 3 companies. So after Samsung, I worked for LSI Logic. There I was working, meaning they were manufacturing for Philips. And then I joined NDS. So in that, I was working on set-top boxes. After that, I took a career break after my
Okay.
first child. I took a career break for 3 years. And then I started Computer Training Institute. So in that, I have trained
Okay.
various
Okay.
students.
Lovely. So in Bangalore only. In Bangalore only.
It was near to CB Raman Nagar. It was an offline center, and that time I wanted to start actually online, but there was no, meaning broadband was very slow that time. It was like I think 512 kbps and all. So, and not many had internet connection. So it was just offline classes. So professionals I have taught, even senior citizens. My students are from like 3 years to 75 years. I have taught all kinds
Okay.
of
Okay.
people in that. Right from basics to advanced courses, everything I have taught. And along the same time, I
Lovely.
have done website development also. And after my second child, I took a career break again. And now I have a toddler and a teen. So there's so much of
Okay.
parent with what is coding and all the things, details. Okay, so what I've done here, because Instagram doesn't support screen sharing, so I'll be sharing my computer screen here.
Okay. Okay.
And okay, let me adjust. It's clear, visible, right?
Yes. It's visible.
So we've been hearing a lot about what is coding and all. So, but people don't know like exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So it is in layman. Let me tell you that it is just set of instructions given to the computer, and or to machines on what actions to perform. So like you might be using any electronic device, like you are using now, we are on live on Instagram, and we are using smartphones. Everything works on coding only. Any electronic gadget that you're using works on coding only. So is the way how we are communicating with machines. We need this coding to communicate. So now, why should you learn coding? Like people have been hearing, no, like the jobs, they're asking like coding is a prerequisite now to join any job. So why exactly anybody needs to learn coding? That's what I'm going to say. So obvious reason is career opportunities. So if you are going into software field where you want to work into developing any electronics things, then you need coding. Then there's for problem solving and logical thinking skills. It enhances that. So let me give you an example. Now you might have seen like when you go to this like McDonald's or a Decathlon or somewhere, like when you've done with the shopping, they present you with the screen where you give like the ratings, like you're happy or you are, extremely happy or dissatisfied, like that. And you have never seen that screen before, but you just go on, you think you just touch whatever the rating is. That's because you're using the smartphones. So you are able to connect the behavior, like the touch screen on smartphone on a device which you have never seen before. So that is called the logical thinking skills. So if you learn coding, you know how to solve a problem, like break down into step by step, or how to think logically, and the same thing you can apply any field. So that's what coding learning helps. And understanding the both sides of the equation in business. So what I mean by this is, so nowadays technology is ruling the world. No, you see anything, there's technology. Even in farming, there are sensors now to see how much there is moisture inside the soil. So it's like we are just totally ruled by technology. So it's very much possible that if you take any job or anything, you start your own venture, you are going to come across technology for sure. So if the person knows coding, and if you're talking to the techies, so you will know their language. So what they say, you can understand. And lastly, it is a new experience. Like if you know coding, you are learning a new thing. No, even if you're not going to utilize, but it's going to be a new thing. You will know how the machines are communicating with humans. So now, what's the skills necessary for coding? Like you decide, okay, I'm going to learn coding now. So what are things you need to have? So if you are going to start coding, means obviously you need to know something called as programming language. I'll come to that. What is it? And it's not like you're just going to write and everything is going to be perfectly fine for the first time. So you need patience and you need to persevere. And sometimes even we are getting stuck with one line of code and it might take us 2 hours or 2 days or anything. So patience is the key. And then you need to have the mathematical skills to think about the logic, like how to solve the problem. And then you need to have sharp memory because the coding is going to be huge. So what you have written before, and if you might write something after a month, you need to remember what you have done there and you need to remember that. And innovative thinking means you're going to come up with some new solutions. So you need to think innovatively and details, because you're coding for the user, like you're developing the device. So everything needs to be perfect, like what comes where, you need to know. You cannot just write something. So even minute details, because if suppose now like we are working on Instagram and if something goes here and there, meaning the user, they'll get confused. So even the minute details you have to see that it's going to come correctly.
All right.
Yeah. So now we've been hearing this coding, programming, and so what exactly is difference between coding and programming? So let's say like, trees, and you've heard forests. So it's something like trees and forests. So both are dependent on each other. Like you can say there are lots of trees, means it's a forest, And if forest means trees, so something like that. Coding and programming are interrelated. And at times people use them interchangeably, meaning they may refer coding to programming and programming to coding. So this diagram represents the exact difference. So coding is the subset of programming. Now coding is just writing the instructions, the lines of code, whereas the programming is the entire thing. Like you write the instructions, and if the instructions are working according to what it is intended, and you do the debugging. Debugging means there are some errors, or it is working properly or not, and documentation. It includes everything. So now we've heard now coding. So now let's come to this binary code or machine code. So what exactly this? It's not like computer understands our language. It's a non-living thing. It's totally a machine. So the computers understand only zeros and ones. It cannot, now this I'm saying something contrary, because I said we are going to give instructions, and then I said the computer doesn't understand our instruction. It understands just zeros and ones, because computer is made up of these transistors. It's like a switch, you can say. So where you know a bulb, that when the bulb is off, it means zero for the computer. And if the bulb is on, or the switch is on, it means one. So the computer has series like millions and millions of zeros and ones. It can understand, meaning those transistors, and it can understand only that language. So if I have to write this number 2, it's going to be written as 1, 0. Or if I have to write number 7, it's going to be written like 1, 1, 1. Or the numbers. So everything has to be represented in 1 and 0, because the computer understands it that way. Now, okay, how did I come up with this number? You will be curious, right? What is this 1, 0 or 1, 1, 1? So let me show how I have reached that. So can you see, or meaning it's a bit smaller? So like here I've shown the formula of calculating it. So here 17. So in that, we need to divide it repeatedly by 2. So the can you see it? Okay. Yeah. So first I have divided 17 by. That's why I said that mathematics is also involved in coding. So here the 17 I have divided by 2, and it gives me a remainder 1. So I put that 1 on the right. No, here. Can you see that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. And then 8 is the quotient. So I again divided by 2, and then I get a remainder 0. So I continue this division continuously until my quotient reaches 1. That's here. Okay. So now we need to read it from down to up. That is 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. So this is how 17 is going to be represented in computer. So any number that you're going to get, you have to, if you want to calculate the binary code or how it is represented in the machine, you have to follow this step where you are going to divide it by 2 repeatedly. Now you're going to get, okay, so now you're getting this question. Okay, fine, this is with numbers. Now what about characters? Now how is it going to be represented in the computer? Right? So for that, there's a system called as ASCII and Unicode. That's an encoding system where every character is encoded into computer. I mean, you know this, no? You might have, when you were a child, worked with this function or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, so this is similar to that. So what they have defined, these are the standard system. No, I have given the name. Hello?
Yes. Yes, yes, I can hear you.
So you can refer to the system online where it's where you get the table, the chart for that. So what they have done is they have mapped every character to a number. So like capital A is 65 or like that. Capital B is 66 and so on. So this ASCII system has 128 characters. that is characters
Okay.
of English, alphabets, and even numbers are not actually directly taken as numbers. Even the numbers have a code. So
Okay.
0
All
is
right.
30 in the ASCII system. Okay. And ASCII was limiting because there were only 128 characters. Okay. So now we have so many languages and so many new things coming. So the Unicode system has come into existence, and it can represent 2 to the power 21. You know, that's a huge number. So many
Hmm.
characters. So in between, some characters are still not allotted, some numbers, but all the languages and even the ASCII code, everything is implemented in Unicode. So if you want to write, like say your name, Meghna, so the M will have a number, and that
Number.
number
Yeah.
is going to be converted to Unicode, like the previous slide I showed you, and then
Yeah.
it is going to be stored on the computer. So
All
now you'll
right.
get worried for sure, because if it is going to take so much, like I have to calculate M value and then I have to calculate this binary code and then I have to store, means this coding is impossible, right? If it is so huge strings, meaning so such a big lengthy numbering system that computer can understand, then I don't think I can do. You will feel like that. But
Yeah.
luckily, now what has happened is they have found a way out. That's not what
Okay.
we are going to. We don't code that way. So they have come up with something called as high and low level languages. So the lowest level is the machine language. That is what computer understands. But then it's not possible for us to write like that. So they have invented something called this programming languages. That is the high level languages. So some examples I've written here is C and Java, Python. You might have heard these names. There are so many hundreds of languages, so over time they go on evolving, and nowadays this Python, Java, they are more famous. Like previously there was this Pascal, Fortran and all those languages, but they are nowadays obsolete. People are not using those languages. So as time evolves, new languages come up. So what is there? There have software design. So we write in high level languages. That is like English language. And these
Okay.
softwares convert those languages into machine language. That is into zeros and ones. So the mapping, the division, everything is done by the software. Now the
All
software is
right.
also into coding only. So now here there's a confusion. Like if the software is, how can the software be written in using coding, right? So what they do is when a new language comes into existence, they take the old language through which they do
Okay.
the conversion. Okay. So if suppose today this Python has come into existence, so they may take Java because it's already existing, and they write the code in Java to convert Python into machine language.
All
The
right.
mapping is done. So every time a new language comes, it's used through a primitive language, whatever is existing, and the compiler softwares are done. So we
All
don't go
right.
on writing in the machine language because that's a tedious process. We may need lakhs of people to do that. So we don't do like that. So the compilers and interpreters. Now I'll tell you what is this. The compilers will compile whatever the code, the entire code you have written directly to machine language entirely. But what this interpreter does is just one line at a time. So you give one
Okay.
code, one line, that is converted into machine language. Then you write the next line, line by line it is converted. Then there is
All
an
right.
intermediary language called as the assembly language, and these uses like mnemonics, the code that is
Yeah.
comparatively easier than the machine language, but difficult than the high level language. So at times we need to use, meaning when we are working in software, at times we need to use this assembly language. But if we want our code to work faster, we do use it. Meaning I have worked on assembly language also in Samsung. So sometimes we need to use, but nowadays most of the cases we need to use high level languages only.
All right.
Now, how does this high level language look like? So, is it like how we speak? It's not like that. There are certain rules for that. So, here I have
Okay.
shown you some four language, meaning four different languages, and four languages do the same thing. They print hello world onto the screen. So, it just shows hello world. So like in the comments here, you've written your hello. So it is something like that, just to display this hello, what you have written in the comments. These are the steps in different languages. So the
Okay.
functionality is going to be.
All right.
Now let's come to something called as pseudocode. So what exactly this pseudocode is not actually any programming language, and it is not being used by computers. But see, here I have written, you can see this begin, input hours, input rate and all.
Yeah.
You can see, right? So can you
Yes,
tell me
yes.
what it means? It means like, yeah.
I think the box below is not very visible.
Okay. Now?
No, no. I can
Okay, I'll just read
read
it.
yeah. I can read the lines, but the definition of pseudocode, but the smaller box is not readable. So maybe you can read
Okay, I'll
the
just.
yeah.
So it says input hours, input rate, pay equal to hours into rate, and print pay. So you
Okay.
can make out, right, what it means. Input hours means you have to tell how many hours you have
How
worked,
many hours?
and in
Yeah.
what is the rate per hour, and what is the payment, that is hours in rate, and then you just print the payment. So this is something similar to English. It is not for the computers to understand. It is for us to understand the
Yeah.
pseudocode. So it is only for study purpose we use this code. So there
Okay.
could be here and there. So it doesn't matter. So when you are studying, when you study computer science, many of the codes are written in pseudocode, which is not a programming language, or it is not used by computers or anything. It's just for us to understand in points.
All right. All right.
So now we've heard like there are these companies, and there has been this huge cry and all, that there is block based coding, and
Hmm.
block based coding is not real coding and all. So we might have heard that. So let me tell you what is this block based coding. So there are set of these instructions in kind of pictures. Can you see, meaning that blue, yellow, purple color pictures there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so these are the instructions. It is readily available on the software. So you just need to drag and drop, and the instructions are passed to the machine or the computer. So this
Okay.
is what is coding.
Okay.
Now, there's something like text-based coding. So people say, oh, text-based coding is only real coding. So you can see the lines. This is what is text-based, where you type on the keyboard, and then it is stored as text files on the computer. So most of the companies and all, they work on text-based coding, and for children, block-based coding is used, but it's not necessary. Even companies can use block-based coding also, but this is the most preferred one, text-based coding. So now let's come to the program. This is in general across any coding language that you use. These are the concepts that are involved. I'm not saying anything specific to any particular language, but I am just saying in general for any particular language, these are important, the elements. So there may be
All right.
some of them may be there in a particular language, some may not be there in some languages. So now this is syntax. So now you can understand what I'm saying.
Yes,
Yeah,
syntax error
समझ में आ
is
रही
a common term, yeah, that we usually get in many of the things that we are doing. Syntax, I associate syntax with error. So syntax error is
Yeah, okay.
something that
Now you can understand what I'm speaking. या आपको समझ में आ रहा है मैं क्या
yes,
बात कर
yes,
रही हूँ?
definitely,
So you can
definitely.
understand. You can understand the difference that I am speaking English or I am speaking Hindi.
Yeah,
You can understand because you know the rules that these words belong to English and these words belong to Hindi. So
yeah,
likewise, when you write a program or you write the code, there is something called a syntax which defines the rules of that language. It's not like, now see, for example, here I have written on the screen that I want to add two numbers. So if I write 2 plus 3, you understand. Or I can write add 2, 3 or add 2 and 3, you can understand. But it's a machine. No, it cannot understand anything that we say. If I say in English or if I say in Hindi, it cannot understand. So we have to define the rule that if I want to add the two numbers, I have to use one of the three options that I have listed here. So I define, okay, I'm writing the C program, meaning if I am the developer of C, I say only 2 plus 3 means 2 plus 3. So the language can understand only 2 plus 3. It cannot understand add 2, 3 because I have defined the rule. So whenever any language is developed, we define the rules. So only these rules we can write to the computer. If we write anything beyond that, it is going to give you syntax error. That means it doesn't understand your language. Or it says, like in English, you end a line by a full stop. If you put a full stop, only you will know that the sentence has ended. So likewise, in some language, it's going to be semicolon. So if you put a semicolon, means the line has ended. Or it could be a space, or it could be a new line. So like that, so that is the syntax. Any language, now next time you encounter the word syntax, you know what it means.
Yes.
So the language has to follow the set of rules, and that's what defines the syntax. Now let's come to these data types. I don't know, you might, if you've done coding, you might have heard it. So you have to tell the computer what type of value you're using. So if I'm using a whole number, so such whole numbers are called as integers.
Okay.
Or if I'm using a real number, that is, there is a decimal point, that numbers are called float. If I'm just using a character, any alphabet or any emoji or something like that, so that's a character. And string means words. So like here I have data, that's a string, not a character, because it has 4 characters in it. Then there are arrays. Arrays means group of similar items grouped together. So if I have like, you have this table, right? In schools, they take the attendance. So you have this, suppose 20 students. So that list of continuous 20 students can be stored in arrays. So these are some data types. There are many more. Depending on the language, there will be the data types defined. But this is an overview when I say data types. Now there's something called as variable. So in mathematics, you might have encountered like a question. A person is 3 times the age of his child. So, and the sum of the ages is 60. So what is the age of the child, or what is the age of the person? So what do you write? Let the child's age be X, because you don't know. So that X is the variable in computer language. So if I say 2 and 3, let me take the previous example. So the computer, I have to say 2 and 3, that is fixed. But the next time I say, no, I don't want 2 and 3, I want 2000 and 4000, something like that. So I cannot write every time for each and every combination, the addition logic, right? So once I say I'm going to do 2 and 3, I need to have a formula or a defined way that any number you give, it should work this way. So we define that I will say one number is X and another number is Y, and I have to add X and Y. So these X and Y are the variables. So these variables are not the part of the language. These are what we define. Okay. So if I want to say, I want to calculate age of a person, I want to ask the age of a person. Like you have filled the form, right? You go, you register your account somewhere, say you are registering onto Facebook. So they will give you name, then there is a block, then they ask you for the age. So those name, age, those are the variables. So I'll define the name as age, AGE I'll give. And whatever value the person gives will be stored in that. So variable is something that can take different values, and these represent in the computer as a memory location. So the computer has this memory where you it's called memories, where the different information is stored. So any particular location, I'm going to give the name. My own name is called as variables.
All right.
Okay. Now we come to this as something called as keywords. So when you say keywords, meaning they are fixed. They are like variables, but they have a fixed meaning. You cannot use those words as they are the reserved words. You cannot use them for anything else. So, for example, like here I've shown if. So, if is a keyword in some language, say Java or C or Python. If that is the reserved keyword, I cannot use it as a variable. It has a fixed meaning. So, if I say print, print has a fixed meaning. I cannot use it for any other purpose. So, those words are called keywords in coding. Now we need logical and arithmetic operation. I have given you already the example, like adding two numbers. So you might have to subtract two numbers or anything, any mathematical operation you might want to do. So there are these operations. How is addition written or subtraction? So the star is used for multiplication, slash is used for division, like that. And then suppose now I say age is equal to 5. So that is called, there is a variable and I have to assign the value. So for that, equal to is used. This is normally used, but it's not the same for all the languages. Most of the modern, meaning high level languages nowadays, they are using these symbols. But if you go to old languages like basic and all, in that it is used MOV, move. Okay, move a comma 3. That means a is storing the value 3. But these, whatever I have written, the operators, that is because it is for the latest languages. Now there is logical, like less than, greater than. No, we have done in mathematics, right? So the same thing is applicable. So there is a comparison. If a number is less than something else or number is greater than something else, so it returns value true or false. So we need to compare something in our code, then we use this. And in mathematics, if both the values are equal, we used to use equal. But now we are using equal for assignment, right? So we can't use equal for comparing. So double equal is used instead. So this at times, many times the coding goes wrong because people get confused. They use single equal instead of double equal.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they use single equal instead of double equal, it is going to get assigned instead of comparison. And so many times people spend hours together fixing this problem. So this is a very critical problem that people encounter, the double equal and the single equal. Even I have encountered this problem in my college. And I spent hours just to figure out where was the problem and why the code is not working as expected. So this is the most common problem.
Yeah.
Now there's conditional statement. Now computers are very fast. They will do exactly what you tell them. So if you tell a computer to start counting, the computer is going to start counting, right? But it will never stop. So it will go on counting if you don't tell it to stop. So when you write a program, or a code, you need to know when to ask computer to stop. Otherwise, it will go on. You say computer start counting. So 1, 2, 3. It will go on continuing infinite. So you say computer, you need to stop when you reach 100. So the computer will count and it will compare each number with your final count. So you say, have I reached 100? Have I reached 100? It will count 3. Have I reached 100? No. Then it will count 4. So like that. So for that comparison, meaning I have just given a simple example, we use this conditional statement. That is, when till the condition is not met, do particular execution. Meaning do some task. You tell the computer. So when you're filling the form, the computer will be waiting till you click the submit. When you're filling any form, the computer will say, have you clicked the submit? It will wait. So once the submit is clicked, so in the code you have to say, if the user has clicked submit, show another page. So that's what is called the condition.
Okay.
Then there is loops. So if the computer is doing a same thing again and again and again, instead of writing it sequentially, because if I say print 1 to 10, so I can write print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4 till 10. That's possible for me. But if I want the computer to print 1,000 or 10,000 times, I cannot write exactly like print 1, print 2, print 3,000 times, right? It will take a lot of time for me because I have to say print 1, print 2 till print 1,000. So for that, what we use is a loop. So
Okay.
in this loop, we will say in the loops we will we will find the similarity between first line and second line. So when I say 1 and 2, so what is the connection? If I say 1, 2, 3, what is the connection? So the second number is plus 1 to the previous number.
Yeah.
Right. So 2 is 1 plus 1. 3 is 2 plus 1. 4 is, so we will define the formula that it repeats itself. That take a previous number, add 1 to it, print the new number. So if we give this formula and we can repeat it 1,000 times if you want to print 1,000. This is a simple example. So if I need to do any such process, I'm going to use a loop where I just give the formula and I say repeat this so many times or till a particular condition is met. So if suppose I say if you reach 100, you go on counting. There's no logic. You just go on increasing counting, and once you reach 1,000, you just stop. So that's why these loops are used to do a repeated task again and again.
Okay.
Now let's come to these functions. So functions are defined like it is a code, a set of code which you're going to be doing it again and again in your program. Let's say you are finding if a number is odd or even. So now I say 8, you say even. But the computer doesn't work like that. It has to have a formula, right? How it is even or odd. So if you have a big code and you need to find, like say 10 times odd or even. So every time you're not going to write the same code again and again. You write that formula inside the functions. So every time I need to calculate odd or even, I'll just pass the number to that function. And that function will tell me it's odd or even. Or if suppose I want to calculate an area of a rectangle. So I'll define a function called area of rectangle and I will give length and breadth. So it will calculate the area and send me back. So every time I'm going to repeatedly use some portion of code, I can use the functions. Now you'll say this loop is also something similar, right? But the loop it's in one position, but its function is like there will be a jump. From if I'm executing some lines of code and then I need a function, means it will go to that location, execute and then come back. So that's the difference between loop and the functions. Although it might look similar. Actually, when I teach these coding classes, so what I do is I teach only one topic at a time. Yeah. Today is the introduction. Covering many topics.
Yes, and maybe and you know the things that you are sharing is very comprehensive and your way of style is also very good. So maybe in the coming months we can have you know one topic specific session wherein you can share more details about you know what is there in it and.
Yeah, when people attend the programming, so I just start with variable. I spend one entire class, that is 1 hour or 2 hours, to understand variable. And then there is something like on a print. So even engineering students I have handled who do not understand the print itself, the print on the screen. So it takes like 2-3 hours just to explain one concept. But here I am just giving an overview of what all is involved in coding.
Yeah,
it takes a lot of even to learn a language itself. It took me like I was really struggling when I learned in my engineering first year. So I was struggling and it took me 3 months to understand the language. So if somebody is teaching, it can go a bit faster, but still I think it would require 3 months for a beginner to learn one language. And then there are so many coding languages, so you could learn entire lifetime also.
Yeah.
it is going. So that's why I say when you say coding is really a huge space.
True, true, true. It's very comprehensive. It's a huge
Now this is
space
the
and it's
last part.
gaining a lot of
Input and output.
popularity. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the input and the output is the process through which you're going to accept user information. The coding is going to be done already. So you show the form, the user has to enter. The user will not know what is happening backside, right? So user will just enter. So how to accept the input from the user and what to display to the screen, that comes as part of input and output.
Okay.
Then there is data structure. So the data structure is how you are going to store that data. You're getting so much of information from user. You're displaying so much. So you need to know how to store that. So all that part will come in data structures.
Okay.
Okay, then this is comments. Comments, we are writing comments everywhere, we know. This has nothing to do with the code or the machine. It is only for the user. So when we write lakhs of lines of code, we don't know what is there, we would have forgotten. So we just write comment in our language, whatever we can understand. So this is totally ignored by the anything, meaning computers or the compilers or anything. They don't read it. It is only for the user. But this is very important, I tell you, because if you're working in a team and if you have written something, the other person will not get to know what you have written, what variable names you have written. If I say variable name age, the other person will understand. But instead of age, if I say it is X, the other person will not understand what it is. So you need to write in comment that X means the age. Only
Okay.
then the other, because normally in companies or when we work in a software, one person cannot do everything.
Yeah.
There will be hundreds of people working, and you quit the job, and you have left the work incomplete. Somebody else comes and joins. They should understand what you have written. So comments is very important. Now this is programming environment, means where you will write the code.
Okay.
You switch on the computer, you don't know, right, where you're going to write the code. So there has to be some environment where you would be writing the code. So it will test, it will show if you have written any error, like you said, the syntax error. So this is called as programming environment. So for this, there is something called Eclipse or NetBeans. These are the programming environments where the developer can write the code. Now here it's really small. I don't know you can see or not. I have written one sample C program where you can find whether a number is ordered even. So here I wanted to tell actually the concepts that I told you, the variables and the keywords. So let me take this camera a bit near. Can you see?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Here, there is this int or printf or scanf. Can you see those words?
Yes, yes, yes.
So these are the keywords.
Okay.
And then there I have written n. That n is variable. And then I have written enter the max number. Okay, that is output. Output to the user. The user will be shown that what is the max number they have to enter. And then there is the scanf, which is accepting input from the user. So, and then you can see this for, that is the loop. And then there is this if is the conditions. And you can see I mod 2. That mod is the arithmetic operator. Then I have put double equal to, I think you can say double equal to.
Yes.
What it is. Yeah, that is the comparison. So what it says is if the number, if it is divisible by 2, means the remainder is 0, means that is an even number. And the n is the maximum, the stop. And so the if, that is the condition check, that if the computer has reached the maximum number, then it has to stop printing. That's what this means. Actually, this would be, if you are a very much beginner to programming, this is a complex program. The beginner doesn't see this, but I just wanted to show the whatever I had explained so that you could relate to the meaning what all the concepts are there. If you don't understand this, it's okay. Just to see, to have a look at what it means.
Yeah.
That's why. and I have to take the screen bit backward. I
Yeah.
don't think you can see that. 2468 and the black screen, and there are some white numbers there. That is what the user is seeing. The user, if I'm using this program, I won't see the top part. The bottom part is only what I see.
Yeah. The end
So,
output.
yeah, that's called output. So now this the browser, right? Through which you
Yes.
access the internet. Okay.
Yes.
So what I want you to do is the next time you join the this internet, that time you see when you join through laptop, okay, not the mobile. So what I want you to do is you right click on the page, any page that you open, and you
Okay.
see click on view source.
Okay.
Okay, next time, meaning not now, after some time. So
Yeah.
you can see so many lines. That is the code that is given to the browser to show the screen. So
Okay.
you can understand what is the code involved and what the user is seeing. Like what I said here, I've shown a text-based coding, but you can understand like how many lines of codes are written to show what. There may be just a small screen, meaning very little bit little thing written, very few lines on the screen that you browse on the internet, but you can see the coding. There will be like 10,000 lines that is written to show just a small thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this is debug the code, like syntax errors, or the code is not working like how you intended to. So I wanted to find the number is odd or even. I give 2 and the computer says it is odd. So is that correct? No, right? It's wrong.
Yeah.
So that is called logical error. The programming is working fine. The code is working fine. But when you enter 2, the computer says odd. That's called logical error. And if you have not followed the syntax rules, you get the syntax error. Syntax errors are easy to fix, but the logical errors are difficult. Like I told you, instead of double equal to, you put equal to. The
Yeah.
programming is working fine. You don't get the output. So we need to call, so those errors are called bugs.
Okay.
So
And
when you operate,
yeah, yeah. So I have a
yeah,
question.
tell me.
So like, sometimes when we hear that, something has got hacked, yeah, be it
Mm.
website or be it anything. So is
Mm.
there a problem in the code? Is it a debug problem that is
See,
happening over
when
there?
you say, yeah, when you say hack, our code is proper. So what
Okay.
happened? The person is called as hacker.
Hmm.
So he somehow gets access to our code.
Okay, okay,
Okay, because it's more secure, and the person will write his own code inside our code.
okay, okay,
And make the this whatever, if your website is hacked means it makes the website misbehave. It won't work as properly as we
yeah,
intended, because they have written extra lines of code and they have written into our program. That's how
okay,
virus also works. No, we've been hearing this viruses, trojans and all.
yeah,
They are
yeah,
they are also written through codes, but they
okay,
are introducing that into our code.
okay,
Okay, so that's what is about this hacking and all.
all right.
Okay, now you might have heard this front end coding. If you are an entrepreneur, like you are having this Instagram, and then you might want to develop your website. So you will approach a developer. So they might say like, we are doing a front end or we are doing back end and all. So what exactly this front end and what exactly back end means? So the front end is what you see. So when you are using the browser and you browse through any article or any page, there will be menu, right? You click on the menu, then it will show you the options. So whatever the user sees or on the app, that the fancy things, the pictures and everything, written thing, that is called front end. Okay,
Okay,
so the most of the meaning mostly HTML, CSS, JavaScript. These are the languages used for front end coding of apps. I
okay,
mean websites and all, or web apps and everything. Now there is this back-end coding that is called the server-side programming. Means what happens behind the screen. So the looks and all is shown by the front-end coding. But now, like you say, you have submitted something, the form. So whatever information you have given, it should go and be stored inside. Right? When you're creating an account, you fill all your information. So the information, everything should go back and get stored. Your password, username, all that goes into backend coding. That's called backend coding.
Okay.
So if you're just showing simply pictures and it's not going to change, means only front end coding is used, like in a static website, where no, you just browse, you read it, and there is no interaction. If there is interaction between the user and you have to save something or give some response, or there is changes in something, then backend coding is used. So here C++, PHP, MySQL, these are the languages used. There are more. These are some of the examples. Now this is the software development process. I won't go through this entire thing, but I'll just show you the number 4, 5th and 6th. These are the 3 places where coding is required. One is implementation, means you're implementing whatever you want from the software. Then there is testing, meaning if it is working as desired. And then there is maintenance, meaning you need some changes, right? Over the time, the software has to change. There's i6, i7, iPhone 8, like that. It keeps on changing. So that is called the maintenance thing. Or even in the same thing, you would have received, okay, update your software, your mobile. There will be some errors, there will be some bugs, the system is crashing. So all those things go into maintenance thing.
Okay.
Okay, so which language should you learn first? This will be your question. Now I told you there are so many languages. So what should I learn? I'm so confused. So for children, I'll definitely recommend block coding. There may be like people are saying block coding is not real coding and all. Trust me, children cannot understand, like at the age of 6 years or 8 years, they cannot understand coding. At least they need to be 10 or 12 to start understanding coding. Even then, if you're going to use text-based coding, it is difficult for them to remember. So drag and drop is easy. They will understand what is looping, why conditions are used. They'll just get this introduction and then they will see the output. So when they see, oh, my game is working and all through block coding, they'll get excited. So for children, I definitely recommend block coding. And suppose your aim is to develop a website, then you can go for HTML, CSS, JavaScript. HTML and CSS, you need to know both. Okay, JavaScript is for some animations if you want to do on a website. You need to learn this JavaScript. And then if you want to do backend and all, you need to learn this PHP. So if you are into app development, you can learn this Java. This Kotlin is a new language that is for Android now. Previously, Android programs were being written in Java, but now from last year, this Kotlin has become famous. And if you're going for iPhone app development, then you need to know this iOS and all. So if you're into embedded system, like I worked in DVD recorders, so we used to use C++ there. C++ is comparatively difficult than this one, like HTML and all. The HTML is it's very easy actually. And then if you're going to learn just for fun, meaning you don't have any aim and all, or if you want to just get hang of what is a programming, then nowadays Python is very famous. Like everybody, it's easy to understand, also easy to learn, and many things. Even Google search and everything works on Python. When I say just for fun, it doesn't mean that it is some useless language or something. Google search works using this Python language only. So it is being used nowadays a lot and it is easy to learn. That's why I said, just if you want to start with, you could start with Python. But if you have any particular field that you want to go, then you have to learn the other languages. There are many more. Previously, there was Perl that was famous, but now in recent years, it was Python. So over the years, maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, this language recommendations would change.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying on today's date.
Okay.
Okay, this is the last slide now. So there is something called as no code packages. So no code might make people happy. Oh, I don't have to learn coding then. Okay, so nowadays things people are making things easier and easier. Like I said, machine coding is difficult. So they have come up with high level languages. Now people don't want to learn high level language. I don't want to spend 4 years learning computer engineering, learning high level language, and then doing the coding to do just a website. I don't want to do that. That's what people might feel. So for such people, there's a way out. They can just go for something called as no code packages. So we don't have to do any coding. The coding is literally done everything for you, ready made. We just have to just drag and drop. So you know
Okay.
this Microsoft Word, right? So we don't have to do any coding. We just write our document, and you want to write a book, you just write the document and your book is ready. So
Okay.
like that, there are many no code packages that are created. So one of the most famous thing for building website is called as WordPress. So you could use
Yeah.
WordPress, no need of learning HTML, no need of learning JavaScript, PHP or anything. You can create your website ready-made. So there are pictures, you just need to drag and drop, or you just need to fill in the blanks, like where you want to put this picture, put that picture there, where you want to write whatever you write there, or color change. There are just the menus and everything. So likewise, if you want to build any mobile app also, there are builders like AppyPie or Thunkable, like that. So you can just use them and get things. And this is a very quick way to do it. If I have to write 10,000 lines of code just to create a page, it's not possible for me. To do,
Yeah.
one person cannot do. But if I use this WordPress, I can do in half an hour the same page. So it's very fast, but there are people who have written the coding, the team, and they sell that code for you. That is called as themes in WordPress. So they do write the code so that they can sell it to mass. So 1,000 people can use the same code. They just need to put the picture or the whatever they want. So that's why nowadays these no code packages have also come into existence. So if you
Right.
know coding, if there is some problem, if the website you want a feature which is not available, you could use the code and you can fix it. So that could be an advantage if you know web page coding.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so I'm done.
I
So I
think
think if you have any questions, I'm not sure how much you understood.
no, it was
So
very informative, and thank you so much for putting so much information together in the simplest possible way. I am sure everyone who is watching this video and who would watch this video once we end the show would definitely benefit from the information that you shared so nicely. And I'm really thankful to you that you have you are a part of this session, and you took the initiative of covering this very important topic, which is very relevant at the moment. I have one last question for you, because you mentioned that you also have industry experience of working with a lot of companies. So based on your experience, would you like to share some skills? What are the relevant skills at present time which youth, specifically those who are looking for jobs in the digital field, should learn, or maybe should know, which would help them in getting the offer letter from the organization? If you
no,
would
see,
like to
it
share some.
depends on the field. It depends on the field where they want to go. Because if you want to go to a software company, actually, there is lot of things that goes. Like when I studied this computer engineering, the coding part was just in first year. And the second year onwards, they teach the concepts in detail. Like they tell you about operating system, or they tell about compilers. So I have written compiler code also in second year. Then they tell about this editors like Notepad or something. I have written Notepad code also. I created my own Notepad. Or they teach about this, Paint. You know Paint. No? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There are so many things they teach in detail in computer engineering. So if somebody wants to go for a software job, so because it involves like the internal details and all, so they ask mostly computer engineering as a prerequisite. So
Okay.
if somebody has done BCom and then they learn a programming language, so companies won't hire such people because
Okay.
there are so many people applying for the job.
Yeah, very true. And what are the most relevant things that are used hands-on when you are in job? I guess, yeah. I can hear you now. Yes.
Be time or something. So depends on what the person has studied. Only they could get, because there are so many people. There are lakhs of people. There are lakhs of software. I mean, computer engineers. So the companies are going to prefer computer engineers than somebody who has just studied a programming language.
Yeah.
But
And yeah,
if you want
and
to develop, yeah, yes.
yeah,
If you
and
want to develop a website for yourself, then you can learn these things, HTML or something. Or there may be some new startups who want to take people who for a less paid job or something. Then they might hire. Otherwise, meaning people depends on their qualification only they can hire. And if you are into marketing and all, I think marketing is a good field, but they would not require coding that much. So just a
okay,
basic understanding would be enough for them.
okay,
Yeah, you were telling something.
okay, and when you mentioned about the things that you learned in computer engineering, and when
Mm.
you actually got into the job, which was of this
Mm.
field, so what were the most important topics that you worked hands on in the industry?
See, what happens is in the industry, like people think it doesn't happen like that. We don't write the entire code, because
Okay,
there will be like uh, 10 lakh or 1,000 lakh. I mean, it may be like crores of lines in one program to make just this Android handset work. There could be thousands, I mean, crores of lines for that. So people cannot work on so much and get a new handset every 3 months. So what happens is they already have a code base. There's lot of
okay,
coding already involved, and when the new handset they release, they use that old one, whatever they have, and just build few features on top of that. So when you add something, there will be lots of bugs created. That's
yeah,
what is mostly no, that's what mostly we need to work on, fixing those things. Because
okay,
starting from scratch, completing the process, even if there are 10,000 people or so, is not possible. So the main what I have worked is that there will be a code base, then they give me a very small thing. Like in the DVD recorder that I work in, like let me give you one example. So what I was working on is, it's called that EPG, Electronic Programming Guide. So in the DVD
okay,
recorders, like you have the set-top box, it will show you what program comes now, what program comes next. So that feature I was working on. So they'll give you a small part of that, and there will be the code also. So you just need to modify it to fix as per the requirements. Whatever the
okay, okay.
like I was working for Philips, so what they were saying, okay, we want it to look like this, so we need to adjust and make it look like that. So whatever we study in engineering, the entire thing we will not be using.
Okay,
So
okay, okay. Yeah, I think that was
hello.
very useful. And yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. I had lost you in between, but now I can hear you. And
Yeah.
I think, yeah, would you like to share something else?
I think we are almost no, done with the time, I think. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me
So
for
yeah,
today. Maybe you will be having more questions, or the people who will watch this session later, they might come up with questions.
yeah,
So they
yeah.
can post my WhatsApp, and then maybe we can come up with the next session if people are interested. Okay, hope you
Definitely.
enjoyed the session and
Yes,
learned
yes,
something
yes.
new.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
thank
And it was, It was lovely having you over here, and thank you so much for covering all the topics in detail so comprehensively. We would look forward to have you in more sessions based on the themes and the the topics, so that you can cover all of them in much more detail. And thank you so much once again for uh, spending this time with us and also sharing all the valuable information related to coding. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye.
Bye bye. Yeah.